temperature would not go down. Not for a long time. Probably not for centuries. It takes a long time for that carbon dioxide to come out of the atmosphere. The standard, the climatologists tell us somewhere between 200 and 2,000 years to lose most of the carbon dioxide that we put in it already. But the temperature does not go back to normal after 200 or 2,000 years. The temperature remains elevated for tens of thousands, according to some estimates, over 100,000 years. Far longer than civilization has existed on this planet. So we're talking about a phenomenon that's very, 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 very long term. If we're talking about tens of millions of deaths by 2100, what are we talking about by 2200? What are we talking about by 2500? What are we talking about by 3000? You can't predict numbers very well out that far. You can't really know. But what we do know is that the numbers are going to be astronomical. And that's best scenario. That's, even if we were to cut off emissions tomorrow, there would still be those numbers, large numbers of people dying. If we continue to pump carbon into the atmosphere, as we are doing, and globally we're putting more carbon in each year, although the United States emissions have dropped off a little, or at least did in the last couple of years. If we continue to put more in, we're looking at absolutely catastrophic effects. The general sort of semi-political, semi-scientific consensus is you want to keep the temperature under 2 degrees C. We're probably not going to be able to do that now, simply because of the infrastructure commitments and so on that we've already made. Some people think we still can. Most people you talk to who really understand this stuff say, no, you're not going to keep it at 2 degrees C. But beyond that, you start getting incredibly more destructive effects and more human deaths. And of course, so far I've just talked about humans. We haven't even talked about the other creatures that we share this planet with. If you look at studies of extinction rates, which is the best way we can get a handle on effects of humans on our fellow creatures, extinction rates increase exponentially with temperature increase. And so the general predictions are for large-scale extinctions, increasingly bad as the carbon emissions continue. In fact, many biologists now are talking about, we're initiating the 6th mass extinction. The last one, the 5th, was about 65 million years ago. That was the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. So we're looking at something on that order of magnitude, maybe. I don't think we're committed to the 6th mass extinction yet. We're on the edge of it. We're pretty close. So what does that mean? So all this is the science. It's abstract. It's global. It's huge. What does that mean with respect to us in particular, to each individual in particular? I think the most important fact that is widely overlooked in the climate science and climate ethics and climate policy discussions is actually 2 facts. One is that the harm, the number of extinctions, of human deaths, of human illnesses, and so on, is directly dependent on the temperature. The higher the temperature gets, we're already in a phase where the Earth is too hot. The higher the temperature gets, the more those things go up. And it's a pretty continuous function. And the second thing is that the temperature is directly proportional to the amount of carbon that we put into the atmosphere. Not today or tomorrow, but the cumulative amount, the total amount of carbon that we put into the atmosphere. The temperature, the maximum temperature that we produce in the atmosphere will be determined by the amount of carbon we put up there. So put those two facts together. The amount of carbon we put in the atmosphere directly influences the temperature. It's a direct function, it's a continuous function. The temperature directly influences the harm to human and non-human life. And what you could conclude then is that the harm to human and non-human life is essentially a continuous function. Every little bit of carbon is causing an additional amount of harm. You might say, well, how can that be? Well, partly because it's the long-term effect.